Welcome to the web-based version of Read 585. This is the first of two lectures, and it is our second week of instruction. We are still in the first unit, which is on the roles of the reading specialist. Each week, I will provide two lectures for you. The first lecture will go over upcoming assignments, provide announcements, and tips for completing the assignments successfully. The second lecture will then feature all of the content for the week. So in this lecture, I'm going to go over any assignments for the week, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about assignment 2, the professional preparation assignment, and give you some tips for getting started writing your resume. Before we get started with that, I have a few items for housekeeping and reminders. If you have not done so already, please update your profile on Titanium, making sure to include your current position, your short-term career goals, and your long-term career goals. I'm actually going to be using this information to group you for assignment 2, so please do that right away. Also, make sure to email me, your course instructor, with alternate contact methods. This includes your phone number, cell phone number, alternate email address, and then also your snail mail address. I'm only using this should an emergency occur and I need to contact you in a hurry. Perhaps you submitted the wrong assignment and grades are due in a few days. I may need to reach out to you in a way that you are likely to receive in a quick and urgent way. And then third announcement item of business is please make sure to check your Cal State Fullerton email. I have sent you an invite for our course wiki. Please make sure to accept the invite. There's not much on the wiki at this time, but that is going to be the medium for which you submit your preparation, your documents for the professional preparation assignment. So please make sure you've found that invitation. If you have not, definitely email me and I will resend it to you. Week 2 readings, well, you'll love this because this week you get to choose one of the following. Great strategy, including student choice. I know. First article is The Role of the Reading Specialist, a review of the research. So if you are more focused on supporting teachers at the elementary level, I would read that article. Then the second article is titled Middle and High School Literacy Coaches, a National Survey, and this is more appropriate for the middle school, high school level, or if you are more interested in the college level, read that. So you get to select which one you'd like to read. Or if you're very ambitious, you can read both. I know there are a few of you out there. And you will need to read that in order to complete our participation activity for the week. You are again doing a discussion forum on Titanium. And your prompt is to think about your potential role as a reading specialist, which is the focus of our first unit here, really articulating what that role is. And then discussing how the article maybe opened your eyes to challenges of this role, provided you with information you didn't have before from the previous articles, and then any questions you might still have. So with any participation activity discussion forum post, please make sure to answer all parts of the prompt. I'm really emphasizing quality of your response, not quantity. I'd rather not read a lengthy response that lacks substance, so please really show depth of thought and push the conversation. Always use those course readings and materials to support your answer. Make sure you cite them using APA format. If you are not the first person to post, please integrate the thoughts of your colleagues. Also, proofread at least 2 times for spelling, grammar, and mechanics. This is a graduate level course. We are focused on our professional writing in this course, so I'm going to hold you accountable to that. I hate seeing errors in spelling, grammar, and mechanics. Assignments due this week. The only one is to read that one article of your choosing and then do the participation activity forum. I do encourage you to get started on assignment 2, which is the professional preparation assignment I will be talking about in a minute. The due date for that is February 8th, Saturday at 11:59 p.m. You will be posting your 3 documents to the correct team group on the Wikispace page. Note, late assignments will be reduced by 1 letter grade and must be submitted no later than 1 week past the due date. Weekly discussion posts and small group activities will not be accepted late. So the easiest way to get an A in this class is to adhere to all deadlines and be timely in submitting your work. So definitely recommend you do that. All right, speaking of upcoming assignments, I wanted to give you a preview of assignment 2. So this assignment involves you completing a rough draft version of your resume, a cover letter, and a thank you letter. What you are going to do is post these documents on our wiki page. I'm going to group you in teams based on similar interests, and then you will be providing feedback to those folks in your group, taking their feedback, improving your professional documents, and then resubmitting them later in the course. It looks like week 15 is when those are going to be due. And this assignment has proven incredibly helpful for so many grad students. I know I always appreciate when I'm forced to update my resume because it makes it so much easier when I need it in a pinch. It's ready to go. So I guarantee you that this will be a useful assignment, especially if you are out there flying your resume to get a job in the near future. Now, on Titanium, I have plenty of resources for you. So let me pause. All right, so here we are on our Titanium course website. This is my view, so it may look a little different, but I wanted to highlight a few things. First, I've put the web address to our wiki page in case you need that link. It's right there. And then I wanted to draw your attention to this assignment resources. Currently, you can view resources for assignment 1, which is class participation that started last week. And then here are resources for assignment 2, professional preparation. So if you click on that, you should be able to view the directions for this assignment, the template for providing feedback for the assignment, and that template actually looks like this, and I will be talking about some of the pieces of this template when I describe tips for the assignment. But basically, here's what we're looking for with the resume. You'll type up some feedback to your colleagues over there and submit that. So let me switch back over. So the feedback template is there, the grading criteria is there. I have a sample cover letter, actually 3 of them for you. I have 2 sample resumes, a sample thank you letter, and then here are the directions for uploading your documents to the Wikispace. I do want you to notice that these resumes and cover letters are saved in PDF format. That is highly advisable, since no matter where you are pulling up this document, the formatting will be preserved, whereas if you submit resumes in Word, depending on what version of Word the recipient has, it may screw around with your formatting and your fonts and things like that. So please make sure you save in PDF. I'll talk about that in a second. So again, there are an abundance of resources here for you. In addition, you can do a Google search of sample resumes and we'll also get more resources. At Cal State Fullerton, we do have a career center. You can use that resource. And I also wanted to show you, if you go back to the home page, right below the assignment 2 folder, I have a separate screencast that Dr. Bowers completed about how to provide feedback for these. So hopefully everything you should need for assignment 2 is right there. So let's talk about just some general tips for success when writing a resume and preparing these professional documents. First of all, as I highlighted, always save your professional documents in PDF format. More so, you are submitting these documents through some sort of online application center, or you're sending them via email, and it is sometimes frustrating when someone opens it up and it doesn't look as though you intended it to, and it actually is a poor reflection on you. So I highly recommend you save in PDF format. Let me just show you how quick and painless that is. You just go to File and Save As, and then here for the file type, you change it to PDF, type in your file name, and then you will be able to save it as PDF. Definitely take the time to do that extra step. I think it just makes for a more professional representation, and again prevents any sort of screwy formatting that may come from just using Word or a different word processing system. Another tip is to have a consistent heading for your resume and cover letter. That continuity is nice. Definitely do your research. Make sure you know what the position is you are applying for. Research the organization, know about their values, beliefs, what is their mission, their purpose, their vision. Try to incorporate language of the organization into your cover letter especially. And then make it flawless. I can't emphasize that enough. All right, the resume. Dun dun dun. Well, a resume is the critical lever that determines whether you will get an interview and ultimately whether you will get hired. So this is your first impression to the potential employer. You probably are aware of that. So your objective is really to set yourself apart in a positive way, not in a clip art cutesy quote sort of way, from hundreds or thousands of other candidates, and position yourself as uniquely suited for the opportunity that interests you. So elements of an excellent resume include that it's easily readable. Nowadays, it seems like there's an overwhelming amount of people searching for new jobs. So I know when we posted a teaching position, we had 800 resumes to filter through. So the easier we can read it and find the information we need, the better. We do have a talent acquisition department that filters through a lot of them for us, but I know that they also feel the same way, where the easier it is to read, the better. Consistent formatting also helps with this. Being concise is important. I'll talk about that a little more. Make sure it's comprised of very quantifiable accomplishment statements leading with action verbs, and I'll show you a couple revisions you can make instead of saying teach, how you can turn that into a more impressive action verb. And again, error-free, error-free, error-free. So think about the structure of your resume as an inverted pyramid. You want to put your most recent and relevant experiences at the top and really focus on those. Spend more time of your resume in the recent experiences and then funnel down to the less recent and less relevant experiences. I don't recommend that you put high school experiences on there at this time. Even college examples should be minimal. So applying this inverted pyramid structure. So only include the most compelling information on a resume. Save space by writing in bullets and phrases, not sentences or paragraphs. So that's a way you can be concise, bullets and phrases. If something in the top half of the resume is not compelling, reword it, add results, move it further down, or take it out. Usually midway through the resume, someone knows whether or not they're going to move forward with your application. So really make that beginning part the most compelling. Never repeat information in multiple places on the same resume. That's redundant. It takes up space that you could be using to showcase other talents and skills. More on the resume. So I'm actually going to switch over to my resume, you can view this PowerPoint and view all of these different talking points that I'm going to address right now, but I'm going to switch over and take a look at my resume and kind of mark it up and show you a few things. All right, here we are back on those resources for assignment 2, and sample resume number 1 is mine. Shocking, I know. Please don't judge me. All right, there it is. Mrs. Perfect. Couple of things I wanted to point out. First of all, there's a large debate, not really, but some discussion over how many pages your resume should be. And I know when I first started applying to jobs, it was communicated to me to keep it to 1 page. Well, now at this point in your career, you might have more information than can be adequately conveyed in 1 page, and I want you to know that it's okay to exceed 1 page. I'm actually working with one of my friends to relocate to Michigan, and I asked her to send me her resume so that I could fly it around, and it was only 1 page, and I felt didn't really convey all the magnitude of work that she's done. So I gave her that feedback. She is very receptive to it and is currently redrafting her resume using some samples I sent her. So don't feel like you need to limit yourself to 1 page. However, if you are going to expand it to more than 1 page, make sure that the information you're opting to include is worthy of the extra pages. If you are going to do more than 1 page, I definitely recommend labeling page 2 and page 3. That way, if they print it out and it gets left on a copier, they know what it is and who it belongs to. So I definitely recommend giving yourself a header there indicating the page number, and you should really have a consistent header. It appears that mine is not consistent, so make sure you do that. So that is the debate, 1 page versus 2 page. Also encouraging you to put your page numbers. Again, make sure there is no errors on your resume. That is a big turnoff. I'm also not a fan of clip art. That isn't very professional looking. Now, your contact email should be very clear at the top. Your contact information should be very clear at the top, and it is very nice if you have a consistent heading for your cover letter. Now, for your email address, I would not use mrsperfect@gmail.com, but that was my sample to go with my pseudonym there. I would make sure you have a professional sounding email, no sugarhigh88@aol.com or I don't know, silly girl or whatever you might have. I would definitely advise you have a professional sounding email. And then I also would not use your current employer's email. So if you're through a district or through a charter organization, I would not use your work email. That just, I don't think, represents you very well. All right. It's very helpful to include your credentials here up at the top, because a lot of times if we're looking to fill a middle school math position, we want to make sure first and foremost that you have the certification that we need. So I would definitely make sure you put your, reading language arts credential, your reading certificate, all of your certifications first and foremost, followed by education. So credentials, education should definitely be at the top because they're going to want to note that information first. Now, with your education, if you have a solid GPA, I would highlight that GPA. Sometimes people put their graduation date or their completion date. In the case of you completing this program, you may include expected completion date or anticipated completion date so they know when you're completing this program. There may be some limitations of including dates though. They may form a judgment on you, either that maybe you're too young for the position they're looking for or the reverse. So think about whether or not you do want to include dates. Where you should definitely include dates is here in your professional experience, because they don't want to see gaps in your professional experience. If there is a gap for some reason, it's always nice to provide a brief narration of that gap in your cover letter, so that will address that question right away. Other things to highlight, Action verbs are always good. We'll talk more about that in a second. So here I have manage, coach, conduct, collaborate, analyze, oversee, inspire, encourage, plan, present, facilitate, train, initiate, promote, lead. So definitely start your, bulleted descriptors with good, strong action verbs. Other sections you can include leadership positions you've held, publications you've done, any professional training you've had, presentations you've done, interests, honors, and special skills. It's very important though that you do your homework on what this position is that you are applying for and you cater your resume to that. So in this instance, this was for my assistant principal dean position. So I was really trying to highlight all of the managing, coaching, leading I'd done previously, the professional development I've led, that kind of thing. And it got me the job. So there you have it. So hopefully you learned something there to enhance your resume. Like I said, it's important to lead with strong action verbs. So instead of taught, you could try designed and implemented challenging curriculum. How much better does that sound? Instead of achieve significant gains, you could say improve student reading levels by an average of 2 grade levels over 8 months of instruction. So really making it quantifiable. Instead of helped create, you could do initiated, established. Instead of served as a chairperson, chaired. Instead of responsible for advising chess club, advised. So those are some examples of leading with those strong action verbs. Fortunately, you have your group of colleagues who will be looking for that and providing feedback to you. All right, so tailoring the resume and cover letter to the opportunity. Like I said, it's very important to know what the employer is seeking. View each entry on your resume and consider how it contributes towards your overall attractiveness to that employer. If it doesn't, I would omit, delete, or drop it down a few lines. Edit each entry, incorporating industry-specific language skills and pertinent details or accomplishments. And then ensure that relevant skills jump out to the potential employer. All right, so that's what I have to say about the resume. The cover letter, not as much to go over with that, but make sure that there is contact, your contact information is there. It is your current contact information. It matches the contact information on the resume. It is a professional email address, all of that good stuff. Have a greeting. If possible, research the name of the recipient. You could do Dear Hiring Committee, I think I've done before. That might be in my sample. Or if you know the name of the principal or the name of the recruiter or whoever specifically you're submitting it to, you can include that in the cover letter. People are always impressed by that. You should have a brief introductory paragraph that gives some background about you and then the job that you're applying for. Then you want to go into more depth, stating what the hiring body should know about you and how qualified you are. So think about the big messages you want to communicate to them. You'll notice from the sample cover letter I provided that I really highlighted the role of the reading specialist and how I fulfilled that role and how that role will transfer into the new role I'm applying for. So I thought you'd enjoy the fact that I brought in some content from this course to improve my cover letter. All right, definitely take the opportunity to narrate any items on your resume that you think may need further explanation or clarification. All right, and last but not least, the thank you letter. The thank you letter is such a nice touch afterwards. Although funny story with that, we definitely had a nice gentleman show up several hours after his interview, which didn't go very well, but this particular gentleman came back with a edible arrangement, huge, ginormous, fruit basket for our staff, and that was a little over the top. That was the first time we ever received an edible arrangement. So no need to go over the top. It then seems like you might be trying to bribe the hiring committee. I would just stick to an email is fine because it's immediate, or a handwritten letter will hopefully get there in a few days. So either of those options would be great. Save your $70 and don't send us an edible arrangement. In your thank you letter, make sure you state a thank you to the interviewee or interviewees for opportunity. That's always nice if several people interview you that you recall each of their names and include that. It shows that you're, detail oriented, attentive, that you have sincere interest and that you really care about getting the position. Have a statement that restates the position you're applying for. And again, really hit it home of why you're so qualified for this position and that ultimate message you're trying to communicate. And then close with a final sentence thanking the interviewee. All right, and I think that's my 2 cents on the resume, cover letter, and thank you letter. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, and I'm hoping you are able to get good feedback from your colleagues and get some ideas of sample templates and formatting that will be very useful to you as you go out and apply to be a reading specialist. All right, join me back for the second part of our lecture where we're going to discuss the course readings.